Hello viewers and welcome to Novus Talks with me, your host Novus Scorvius, and this is episode 3 of the journey to launch. This is a web series where we're going to be documenting everything on the lead up to the release of Metroid Prime 4. The game is 11 days away now, which feels impossible to believe, but it's true. We just got an overview trailer there last week. I didn't have a reaction to it because I was caught up doing important things and I ended up watching it while away from home. But wow, what a trailer that was. 7 minutes. It was insane. And I was wrong. The previews that came out were all new stuff. I thought it was going to be the same demo, but reporters, journalists, they all got to play new stuff. And we finally got a taste of what the game is really showing. And some of it has proved controversial. We're going to talk about that. On the whole, I'm excited. I think we got to see more of the psychic abilities. That's kind of interesting. And the boost ball is back, or some psychic variation of it. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be interesting to see these kind of classic abilities back, but in a new light. And it's definitely very similar to, I know everyone brings up the comparison, but there's strong similarities to Metroid Prime 2 with how that brought back previous abilities, but in a different way. Like you had the X-ray visor, but now it was called the Dark Visor, and in this game it's called the Psychic Visor. You know, it just brings a feeling of familiarity back. That's nice to see. But the big thing, obviously, is Federation Marines play a big part in this game, and I am absolutely excited for that, because to me, like, okay, here's the thing, the isolation and all of that of Metroid, yes, that's important, and yes, I love all of that. But I'm very much a person that wants the franchise to expand. I want to see the franchise fully realize its potential, because Metroid has a lot of potential in its universe, in its lore, to explore different characters and different settings, but it always intentionally limits itself. So to me, it's great to see more Metroid games taking on the approach of telling an active story and having other characters. It's one thing I really liked about Prime 3 was, and you know, a lot of people compared it too much to Halo, even though Halo copied Metroid, but you know, Prime 3, getting to see the Galactic Federation Marines, getting to fight alongside them, you know, through scan logs, getting to learn about their ships and their technology, and just all of that was so cool. And I loved the escort mission at the end of Metroid Prime 3. That felt so cool, fighting alongside them against waves of space pirates. And there's going to be loads of sections like that in Prime 4. So it's more of what I wanted in that regard. That makes me over the moon with excitement. You know, and there's scenes of them fighting off waves of these different alien creatures, and you're going to be meeting different Marines in different areas, and they're going to be giving you, it seems like we don't have proper beams this time. We don't have like the plasma beam, for example. We seem to get these temporary upgrades from the soldiers, like this flamethrower, this electrical weapon. That's a bit of a bummer, because I like switching beams. I loved doing that in Prime 1 and Prime 2. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Maybe there are actual beams, but I didn't come away with the impression that there was. But the one thing from all these previews that did deserve all the criticism is one NPC in particular. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. I absolutely detest Miles McKenzie. we've seen like maybe 2 minutes of this character, but fuck me, he's obnoxious. The writing is the writing for that character is abysmal. It's just MCU nonsense. His design, the character design is also immensely stupid because it's like his armor is painted yellow for no reason other than to show he's like a tutorial character. You know, it's the same as video games, you know, painting ladders yellows to show that you can climb them, or, you know, the way forward is marked with yellow paint. You know, all of this. Like, they did that with his armor. And the character, you see him without his like helmet on, and he wears glasses, but his helmet also has glasses on it. So why is he still wearing glasses underneath the helmet? And why is he a coward? Everything about that character is just bad. Very, very bad. I don't agree with everyone else about the NPC situation in general. As I've said, I'm all for that. I love to see Metroid expanding and finally giving the Galactic Federation something to do in these games. And it makes sense because, you know, they were all transported to Viros with Samus and with Psylocke. But God, Mackenzie really is just, from those previews, I did not get a good impression at all. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, he's just there for the tutorial, like maybe the first area, and, you know, you'll get different Marines in different areas. I would fully believe that, if not for the fact that the Nintendo Today app posted a screenshot of that I'm presuming is from late game. And in fairness, we don't know because it's out of context, but I'm presuming it's from late game because we see Samus in a brand new suit, which looks awesome. It's like the light suit, but like combined with the Viola suit. And it just looks wicked. It looks so cool. But we also see Mackenzie standing next to her in that shot, and if he's there main game, I just hope he stops talking at some point, or that he's there very little compared to the other characters. I doubt it, but, you know, we'll see. I really like the psychic bomb. That's a really cool ability, sort of being able to lay bombs and then pick them up and use the psychic glove to use the bombs as power conduits instead of like rolling into slots and laying bombs like you used to. So that's really cool, and I'm sure there's other really cool abilities as well. We still don't know what mining the green ore does. I'm guessing it probably has some connection to like the robots or like psychic energy or something along those lines. But they've been silent on that. And very interestingly, they finally revealed the purpose of the amiibo. And I also just realized I got my 2 amiibo arrived. I forgot to show them here for the video, but I guess I'll do that next time. But we now know the purpose of the amiibo. The 2 Samus ones, they're just for unlocking energy tanks and customizable skins for Viola. So nothing that important or crazy. The Psylocke one, they remained tight-lipped on it, but they did confirm that it makes a cutscene easier to unlock, is what the description was. So that's very telling. That actually tells us a lot more than you think. It means that unlocking this cutscene normally without the amiibo is probably tied to 100%ing the game. It also probably suggests that Metroid Prime 4 has a lot of collectibles compared to the previous Prime games. And I was beginning to think that anyway, because, you know, you probably have like expansions to the control beam ammo. You know, you'll have your usual energy tanks and missile tanks. The different weapons you get will probably have their own like ammo expansions, and there's probably like beam upgrades for Viola that you can unlock. So the item count for Prime 4 compared to the trilogy is probably double, the amount of energy tanks, missile expansions, whatever that you had to unlock before. So I imagine it requires more work, which is why for people who don't want to go through the effort of 100%ing the game, they can use the amiibo to get the cutscene. And the last thing is that also we can kind of infer what the cutscene is. Well, it can only be one of two things. A lot of people speculate that it might be a flashback to Silux's past, and that's a possibility. We can't rule it out. But I'm more of a believer in what I think is the more likely option is that it's like a post-credit scene, because all the Prime games have had them. If you 100%ed Prime 1, you saw that Metroid Prime had infused itself with the Phazon suit and Dark Samus was born. If you 100%ed Prime 2, you got a cutscene showing that Dark Samus is still alive. If you 100%ed Prime 3, you get the famous scene of Silux stalking Samus. So I imagine this mysterious cutscene will be probably Silux surviving the final battle, because I assume he's going to be the final boss, or he'll play a role in the final battle or something. And I'm guessing, you'll defeat him and either you'll escape and he's stranded, or you defeated him and he's presumed dead, and then the cutscene will show he's actually still alive and that he escaped, and that'll set up Metroid Prime 5. I guarantee you, it just seems so obvious. Because before now, I could have seen the argument that, okay, maybe Silux is just a villain for this game and he's being used to introduce the real villain of this new trilogy. But I think this kind of confirms that Silux is here to stay. He's going to be around for at least potentially another sequel after this. And I don't know about all of you, but that gets me very excited. I can't wait to see more of this character, learn who he is, learn his backstory, fight him again, all this stuff. And all in all, that's kind of more or less the basis of everything we learned from that 7-minute overview trailer. And it's interesting because I don't know if many of you watched the Kit and Krista podcast. They were two former employees of Nintendo who used to host Nintendo Minute, and they left Nintendo a couple of years ago, and they have their own YouTube channel, their own podcast series since. And they mentioned when talking about Prime 4's limited marketing, they were like, oh yeah, last week, saying this in hindsight, at the time they were like, yeah, next week would probably be the only chance Nintendo has left to market Prime 4, because after that they've Kirby and I think Pokemon or whatever, or Kirby and Hyrule Warriors is what it was, yeah. And they reckoned that, oh yeah, they'll probably market it next week, and since previews are supposedly opening up on the 14th of November, that's when that would happen. And we got the Mario Galaxy trailer during the week, and that kind of at first seemed like it was taking away from Metroid, and that was going to be the big focus. But then literally the next day they dropped the 7-minute overview trailer. So their prediction was spot on correct, which is kind of crazy. But it's funny enough, it kind of resolves everything I said in the last episode about Nintendo not marketing the game. Granted, there's still, the marketing still leaves a lot to be desired. There's so much more they could have done. They could be pushing the game a lot harder. But what they gave us was very satisfactory, and I'm so excited for this game. I always have been. I say it every video I talk about it, but it's true. Here I am, even after 8 years, still talking about this game which comes out in 11 days. That just doesn't feel right, you know, because for so long it was always years away. So to think about it being like less than 2 weeks away it just feels impossible to me. And it's going to feel strange until release. But all in all, that was just kind of everything there was to talk about right now. I know I said this episode I would be talking about the art book. My art book didn't arrive yet. I was late ordering it. It'll arrive like next week, and I was kind of second guessing myself then, because I was like, well, I know already that there's nothing about Prime 4 in it, so is it really worth doing a Journey to Launch episode on it? I'm not sure, so the next episode will probably be either on that or talking about the Amiibo, or another trailer if one pops up out of the blue. But all in all, that'll be it for now. With 11 days to go, I guess, I don't know how many more episodes I get. I guess there'll only be like 1 or 2. Originally, I was planning to kind of have upwards of 10 episodes, doing ones like multiple episodes a week, but you know, my own life kind of got in the way of things, and I got distracted, and you know, we'll have to make do with what we've got. But I'll definitely have one more out before launch, and I'll probably get another out like the night before the game releases or something. So stick around for that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Were you hyped by the latest trailers? Did the previews get you excited? What do you think of the direction Prime 4 is going in? What do you think of Miles McKenzie? Let me know everything you're feeling about Metroid Prime 4 down in the comment section below. And yeah, with that all said, thank you all for watching, and please subscribe. Novus Corvius out.